Well, let's discuss more about virus variants now and the body's response to what's called the 501Y.V2 variant, also known in other countries as the variant first discovered in our country. Well, new research from our genomic surveillance network shows that people infected with the 501Y.V2 variant are also immune to other forms of the virus, which means that the protection from that variant could also extend to the original virus circulating in our country and also the variant which was first identified in Brazil. Of course, vital to understand the immune response to the new form of this virus. Let's speak now to Aisha Abdool Karim from the Bhekisisa Health Journalism. Aisha, good afternoon to you. This is a really important discovery.
Yes, so I think what is really exciting about this new research and data that's coming out is that up until now, unfortunately, it's been a bit of bad news in terms of the discovery of new variants, not just in South Africa, but around the world. And what has made these variants so concerning is that they've been able to evade these things called antibodies that your body produces, which can protect you from viruses and other sort of harmful things that can make you sick. And why it's been concerning is the fact that the new versions of the virus can evade old antibodies means that if you had previously been infected with the coronavirus, you could potentially get reinfected with this new sort of more severe form of the virus that's in circulation. So the positive information that came out of the recent briefing from Tulio de Oliveira's team and the rest of the genomic surveillance network shows that essentially antibodies that you generate from this new variant, the 501Y.V2 variant, which is making up about 99% of cases in South Africa at the moment, can not only protect you from the variant, but also protect you from the old version of the virus. And what we know so far is it can provide protection against the variant that was identified in Brazil. But more exciting than that is that the indication of that protection means that potentially the South African version of the virus that we have, this new variant, the 501Y.V2, could actually hold the key to protecting us from multiple variants around the world because of these antibodies and because the structure of the 501Y.V2 is so special and unique to South Africa.
I mean, what it really means is that hopefully the vaccines, the ones that work against the V2 variant, will work against all the other variants. I mean, that's, I suppose, in a way, the headline, the upshot of all of this. That's what, I mean, that really is the kind of good news we've been looking for.
Yes, so I think what it means is that all the trials that were done in South Africa, which is particularly of importance regarding the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which is the one that we've been rolling out and giving to people, it had a 57% efficacy against the variant, which is a very high efficacy level, and it's just one dose. And so not only does this mean that those trials hold answers for how those vaccines will perform globally, but it also holds a very good guide for the future of vaccine design. So, for instance, you know, certain companies, like most companies actually, from Moderna to Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer, are looking at creating sort of updates to their vaccine, or what we're calling booster shots, which is going to be a vaccine that's tailored to the variant that can then be given subsequently to try and like boost your immune response and offer you greater protection that's tailored towards these variants. And Moderna in particular is using the 501Y.V2 variant that we have in South Africa as the basis for their new design. And several other companies are also looking at using it as the basis for their design. And why that is sort of a positive thing is because if the variant that we have locally can offer protection, it means that if these pharmaceutical companies and vaccine developers use this variant for their design, we could have a new vaccine that is able to offer high levels of protection around the world despite the emergence of all these new variants.
It's fascinating that a variant, let me put it another way, it's fascinating that a variant that emerges in South Africa can give you protection, if you get that variant, can give you protection against a variant that emerged in Brazil. I mean, it shows you how important the fact is that they come from the same core virus, COVID-19.
Yes, so I think what is really special to note about the variants, and it's what made them stand out in the first place, is that all of them had a significant number of changes. So it was out of the norm what we had seen for the virus over the past year. But what is also interesting is that even though each variant emerged independently, so for instance, the one that was identified in Brazil and the one that was identified in the UK and the one that was identified locally here in South Africa, they're not the same variant. They're all different sort of origin tales. But despite the fact that they all emerged independently and in different regions, they share common sort of structural changes. So, for instance, there are like for ours, it's named after the 501Y, which is a mutation on the virus in a key part of the structure. It's the point at which the virus attaches to human cells. And that mutation is common in the variant that's in Brazil, and it's also found in the variant that's in the UK. And because South Africa's variant has all of these mutations that are common to other mutations, so for instance, another one that we have is called the 484K, which allows our variant to sort of evade antibodies. It's also something that's found in the variant that's in Brazil, and it's also a mutation that's on the new variant that's been identified in Uganda. And because the variant that's in South Africa has all of these sort of common mutations with other countries, it makes it a good candidate and like a viable option for the basis of vaccines. Because if you can create an immune response that can successfully defend against the 501Y.V2 variant, you have a high likelihood that that immune response will apply to other variants that share similar structural changes.
It's fascinating how all of this is changing. It also reminds us how important it is to get vaccines out in the field and as quickly as possible. And then, you know, that will hopefully prevent more variants from developing. We've got to make sure that everyone gets a vaccine.
Yes, absolutely. The key to vaccination is that we need to reach a point of herd immunity where enough people are protected that we can stop the virus from spreading within a community. And we really need people to be willing to take these vaccines as soon as they become available in the country, because the more people that are protected, the greater the protection is for the whole population. So it's the common saying that's been floated around, which is, you know, I'm not safe until we're all safe. So everyone really needs to be part of this plan to end the pandemic.
Aisha Abdool Karim from the Bhekisisa Health Journalism. I really appreciate the time this Friday afternoon. Thank you.